Hello, you are welcome. So my name is I am Victor. So I'm going to be your tutor for this particular online Sax training. So, all right, in the first months of your training, so this is the content that we're going to be discussing extensively. First, we're going to look into the introduction to saxophone, that is what saxophone is all about, and as well the class of instruments it actually belongs to, and as well some important concepts you need to know about saxophone in terms of its key mechanism. So this is the first thing we're going to be talking about as we even enroll for this class. Then secondly, we're going to look into some important terminologies and as well the sax structure. Those terminologies used in saxophone, and as well talking about your pitch, octave, your stand, and many others. Is that okay now? So these are those things that we're going to look into promptly in this online sax tutorial. And as well, we're going to look into the structure of saxophone. As a beginner, it's very important for you to actually understand the structure we have in this saxophone, and because basic understanding of it is going to guide you towards mastering your saxophone in your stand, learn how this saxophone actually works. So when you have a good knowledge about the structure, definitely you are going to have a pure understanding of how the whole thing actually works. Then from there, we're going to move into what our fingering, labeling, and as well the placement. You see, this particular concept is very important as a beginner level in saxophone, because once you can actually place your fingers rightly on the saxophone, at least your problem is actually half solved towards playing your saxophone, because incorrect placement of fingerings on your saxophone is going to lead to a poor productivity, you understand. So that simply means your sound or your scales or any notes you are trying to amplify on the saxophone is not going to be correct, and you are not going to find it at ease at all. So it's very important for you to actually start learning now. You understand how you can place your fingers correctly while even playing on saxophone. And as well, we're going to talk about the labelings of your fingers, so don't worry. So right from the thumb finger to the pinky finger, all this is going to be discussed extensively. Then we're going to look into an important concept in our saxophone known as chromatics concept. So chromatic concept is just like a particular concept that actually would combine the whole 12 keys we are having in music, you understand. So I'm going to be teaching you some basic concept, because understanding of the chromatic concept is going to aid you in actually in playing successfully in any keys on the saxophone. So this is a very important concept we are going to be talking about in your first month of your training. So then lastly, we're going to look into some tips into blowing and as well holding your saxophone correctly, talking about the posture. Now we assume that, okay, for example, now you may not actually know how to actually the correct posture as regarding saxophone. So I'm going to take my time to actually teach you the correct posture you stand towards playing or holding your saxophone. Is that okay now? So talking about blowing of saxophone, of course, so I'm going to give you some intakes as regarding how you can actually blow into the saxophone for you to actually bring out the correct notes you stand. So this always serves as a challenge for beginners generally, because for them to actually amplify a particular sound, they find it very difficult. But during this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you step by step procedure on how you can actually place your mouth correctly on your mouthpiece, just for you to actually produce the right sound, no matter the note or button you are trying to actually press on the saxophone. So this is what we are going to be considering in the first month of the training. So all right, let's proceed. All right, so in your second month of this training, so we're going to be looking into creating tips for you to actually get a clean sound. So whatever you're doing on the saxophone, whatever you're trying to do, maybe your objective should always be that you want to make sure that the particular note you are producing is clean and neat. You understand? So now this is a very important concept you should learn as a beginner in saxophone, even as you begin your journey towards playing saxophone. Very, very important. So I'm going to be giving you some pro tips as regarding how you can actually amplify a clean and a neat sound on the saxophone. Then thereafter, we're going to move into the step-by-step procedures on how you can actually play the keys on the saxophone. Now, perhaps I've mentioned this before. You know that we're having 12 keys generally in music. So now we're going to start by actually considering how you can actually play these 12 keys on the saxophone. Now we're going to start by exploring the concept of the identification, how you can actually identify the keys, the position on the saxophone. Then thereafter, we're going to pick these keys one after the other, just for you guys to actually get this concept of how you can actually play the keys. Now, for you to do that, so I'm going to be then next thing we're going to move into the corresponding keys chart. That is, I'm going to be giving you the chart for the corresponding keys we are talking about. Let's say, for example, if you are learning how to play key C, for example, of course, the chart for key C is going to be supplied as well. Maybe C sharp, the same thing. And for you guys to actually master that particular keys you're actually playing on, so you have to introduce you have to make use of a particular concept known as exercise. You see, exercises is just that important concept, not only in music, not only in saxophone training, as well as other instrument training as well. So the essence of you using exercise is just to enable the flexibility of your fingers. So it's going to make your fingers to be more convenient towards playing around a particular key you're actually into. So you want to make sure that each key we are actually speaking and maybe trying to learn, so you want to make sure that your hand is convenient towards playing around that keys. Is that okay now? So that's the importance of exercises. Then thereafter, we're going to actually I'm going to introduce you to scales. Okay, we have different kind of scales in music, but basically, at least for a beginner now, I'm just going to teach you the major and the minor scales for now. We have tons of scales there in music. So now these scales is another thing, is another important concept that can enable the flexibility of your fingers around a particular key. So whatever key we are actually picking, you want to make sure that we are actually applying some certain skills to it, because it makes you sound like a professional. You understand? It makes you look unique. You understand? Whenever you are playing. So whatever keys you're actually learning, so we're going to be applying these two concepts, which is the exercises and as well the scale. So let's proceed. So, all right, in the third month of your training, which is going to be the final phase, so we're going to continue towards how we can actually learn the keys on the saxophone as well, because I just told you that we are having up to 12 keys on the saxophone, and likewise any other instrument. You understand? So now we're going to continue towards actually how we can actually play the rest of the keys. So now, and as well, we're going to consider an important concept whenever we are trying to actually learn other keys. I call it sharp notation and as well the flat notation. We're going to look into differences between these concepts in this particular final month. You understand? So that's just one of the important concepts we're going to look at in the third month of your training. Then secondly, we're going to actually consider how you can actually explore some simple scales. Now we are being a bit advanced. So in the previous month, actually I talk about introducing some skills to you, like major and the minor. So we're going to actually step ahead. You want to actually explore some different kind of skills we are having, you understand? But one of which in which we're going to continue, in which we're going to consider is the pentatonic scale. Okay, so that's one of the important scales in music generally, you understand? So we have many of them, not only pentatonic scales. We're still going to be considering some other scales that can actually help you and assist in your journey of learning your journey of learning saxophone. Remember, I told you that the significance of scales is just to enable the flexibility of your fingers around a particular key. So that's why you shouldn't actually joke with any scales. So towards this, in line with this application of scale, we are still going to be doing a lot of exercises on that particular scales. Is that okay now? So then after that, we're going to look into, I call this particular stage put it to work. Now in this case now, we're going to be learning how you can actually play simple songs on saxophone very fast. Now you're going to be applying all the concepts you've learned from the first month of your training, second month of your training, towards this particular concept of how you can actually start playing to song. Maybe for example, there are some songs you already know, so how you can actually solo them and as well apply some skills that can actually make them unique. So of course, definitely what you've learned, you're actually putting it into practice. So that's what we're going to be talking about under this particular category. And not only that, we're going to look into how you can actually what to read music, you understand, basic reading and basic music reading rather, you understand. So in this case now, you want to focus our attention on how you can actually identify the keys you are having in a particular song. Let's say for example, just consider as if maybe you are scoring a song. Let's say for example, you want to score a particular song, you understand. So the first thing you are going to do as a saxophonist is for you to actually what identify the keys in which the song is being what recorded on, because if you don't know the key, of course there's no how you can actually what flow in that particular song. So now in this particular category, I'm going to teach you as a saxophonist for you to actually have a sharp listening here, for you to actually what amplify the particular, for you to actually identify the particular key a song is being recorded on, be it the song is recorded on C sharp, D sharp, F. So I'm going to teach you how you can easily what identify this. So we call that music reading. So that's what we are going to be considering in the third month of your subscription, which is what, which is your final stage. So I do hope you understand. So alright guys, as regarding the tuition fee for this online training, so you're only paying the sum of 10,000 naira only, the sum of 10,000 naira only. So then, so you are going to consider this as in form of actually what they give me, because they actually what I know how much I'm going to be charging you on a monthly basis. So just consider this as a form of what, as a promo price for you. So all what you need to do is just to pay the sum of 10,000 naira and you're good to go. So I'm going to see you inside the training. Thank you. Now this is a Sax.